That's a pretty big question. Pretty difficult to answer quickly. There's a lot involved in that. When you say culture and politics and sport, people write books about that. So I would hesitate to take that on as a whole. It makes more sense to me to be a little bit more specific. And I'll just tell you what we say to our team. Each one of them has the right and the ability to say what they would like to say and act the way they'd like to act. And they have our full support. And no matter what they might want to do or not do is important to them, respected by us, and there's no recrimination, no matter what might take place, unless it's ridiculously egregious. But there's a line for everything. I think that we do live in a difficult time, and it doesn't do a whole lot of good. We all know the situation, and it gets beaten up every day by talking heads, and it starts to get personal, and I think we all know why. We all know where the source is, where a lot of the division comes from. But to dwell on that sometimes I think is the wrong way to go, because it's so obvious now. It's boring, the childishness and the gratuitous fear-mongering and race-baiting has been so consistent that it's almost expected. The bar has been lowered so far that I think it's more important to be thinking about what to do at a more organic, roots-based, level. Thinking about the efforts to restrict voter registration. Comments that demean cultures, ethnic groups, races, women, those sorts of things. What can be done in an organic way to fight that? Because we know how everything happens. We know where the power in the country is. We know the racism that exists. But it's gone beyond that to the point where I'm more worried about and more confused by the people around our president. These are intelligent people who know exactly what's going on, who were basically very negative about his actions, but now it seems that it's condoned. And we saw it this weekend with his comments about people that should be fired or people that shouldn't be allowed to do this sort of thing. I wonder what the people think about who voted for him, where their line is, how much they can take, where does the morality and the decency kick in. And I understand very well, they didn't like their choice. Economically, a lot of people had a problem. And he was the right guy at the right time to tap into that mood. And people overlooked one hell of a lot to be able to pull that trigger and vote in that direction. But it was because they wanted change. They felt ignored. They actually thought something would happen that would aid them. But at what price is the question. And as we see the actions over and over and over again, one wonders what is in their heads, and have they come to the conclusion that they had the wrong vehicle, They might have had good ideas and good reasons why they wanted to go the way they went, but someone else that had a little bit more decency about how they approach other people and other groups might have served better. And that's what I worry about in the country. You wonder about if you live where you thought you lived. I just heard a comment this morning from a NASCAR owner and from Mr. Petty that just blew me away. Just blew me away. Where the owner described the fact that he would get the Greyhound bus tickets for anybody to leave and they'd be fired, and Mr. Petty who said people who act the way we saw on Sunday, they should leave the country. That's where I live. I had no idea that I lived in a country where people would actually say that sort of thing. I'm not totally naive, but I think these people have been enabled by an example that we've all been given. And you've seen it in Charlottesville and on and on and on. That's not a surprise. Get over it. You know, what do we do to get it done? To go to the grassroots and not allow this to happen again. You know, our country's an embarrassment in the world. This is an individual who actually thought that when people held arms during the games that they were doing it to honor the flag. That's delusional. Absolutely delusional, but it's what we have to live with. So you got a choice. We can continue to bounce our heads off the wall with his conduct, or we can decide that the institutions of our country are more important, that people are more important, that the decent America that we all thought we had and want is more important, and get down to business at the grassroots level and do what we have to do. I guess that's enough for now.